What's up, guys? Coach Jimmy from Modern Athlete Strength. Today, I'm going to be covering the return of the barbell back into training, whether you're coming off a hiatus of training or coming back from an injury. So you can't just jump right back into it. There has to be a systematic approach to the way you do that. So here, I just give 3 stages. So stage 1 would be open chain exercises. I'm going to get into what those are, but open chain exercises, or if it is coming back from an injury, this is the point in time where you're doing PT exercises with your physical therapist. Stage 2, progression to body weight closed chain exercises. And then stage 3, increasing the range of motion and intensity of barbell closed chain movements. Okay, so open versus closed chain exercises, what that is. So your open chain exercises are exercises that allow your hands or feet to move freely in space, isolate specific muscles or joints, especially coming back from an injury. This is really important. Examples of this could be leg extension, leg curl, sideline clamshell, dumbbell bicep curl, dumbbell bench press, things that allow your hands or feet to move freely, okay? Versus closed chain, your hands or feet are fixed to a surface or an object, like a barbell or the floor for a squat, things like that. It engages multiple muscle groups, so compound movements usually. Some examples would be squats, push-ups, pull-ups, bench press, deadlift. All those things would fall into the closed chain category. So I'm going to get into a progression, how to get back under a bar, or you could even use this as a regression if you've never squatted before. You can look at it both ways. But for this is stage 3. So this is after you've already done your rehab or your open chain exercises. You've gone through your body weight series, and now this is stage 3. So stage 1, goblet squat to a box. So goblet squat, holding a dumbbell or a kettlebell, sitting down to a box, restricting your range of motion, learning what that depth looks like. So you have that feedback from where you want to squat to. Then progressing from that would be a goblet squat with no box. Then from there, a front squat to a box, or I like the Zercher squat as well. So this could fall into the category as well. Zercher squat from pins, again, restricting the range of motion, and then followed up by a full range of motion. So after we do to a box, then we do full range front squat, no box. Then it's back squat to a box, and then it's back squat, no box. Okay. So depending on the person, it's not a set, hey, you're going to spend 4 weeks in each block here. This is up to the individual and where they are in their rehab or how they're trending, returning back into training from a hiatus. But this is usually how I go about it when getting somebody back under a barbell with the end goal being a back squat. Okay, so that covers back squat. For bench press, same deal. So stage 1, you have your rehab, your machine-based exercises or your dumbbell-based exercises, more open chain exercises. Stage 2, push-up progressions. Stage 3, again, same as the squat, restricted range of motion, then full range of motion. So dumbbell floor press followed by, so it's restricted range of motion followed by a full range of motion dumbbell bench press, then barbell floor press, then barbell regular bench press. Okay, so that is just covering how I go about it, restricting the range of motion, make sure we're comfortable with that range of motion before we go full range. For deadlift, same concept. In the stage 3, you're doing trap bar from blocks. So again, it's higher than the floor. You're not pulling from the floor. You're restricting that range of motion. Then I would take the blocks away, go high handle trap bar deadlift, still reduce range of motion because it is higher than the traditional barbell. And then the last part of that series with the trap bar would be trap bar with the low handle pulling from the floor. And at that point in time, then I'd expose them to the barbell. Then maybe we go barbell block pull. So going back to restricted range of motion, but now with a barbell, and then progressing to barbell deadlift from the floor. Okay. So that's just how I progress for squat, bench, and deadlift. And then some things, if you have these tools in the toolbox, are great. So safety squat bar is great, especially if you have shoulder issues. If you're coming back from shoulder surgery, things like that, you can't get into external rotation. Safety squat bar is a great option. Multi-grip bench bars are also a great option if you have access to them. Trap bar, as I mentioned previously, I think it's a great option for anybody, really anybody, but especially if you're not looking to compete in powerlifting and you don't need to be conventional barbell deadlifting, trap bar is a great substitute. Chains and bands are another great tool to have in the toolbox. Obviously, they're definitely a great tool to move the needle strength-wise, but they also can help in the rehab side of things as well, because at the bottom of a squat or a bench press where you're more compromised and you're in the weaker position, the chains and the bands deload at the bottom and then they overload the top. So you can use that as you progress back into traditional lifts as well. Another thing I don't have on here, but a pit shark, if you have access to a pit shark or a belt squat machine, another great option and for a tool in the toolbox to safely kind of load the lower body. without having to worry about loading the spine. It's hip loaded, a great tool if you have access to it. So just a couple different ways to go about it, but these are some of the things that I do when working with somebody, either coming back from an injury, working closely with the physical therapist, or just somebody coming back after a hiatus from training, just to slowly and safely get them back under a bar. But again, if you are coming back from injury, number one, you got to speak with your doctor and your physical therapist on what the right way to go about it is. But this is just some examples of how I've done it. Thank you. Hopefully you got something out of this. Feel free to reach out through @ModernAthleteStrength on Instagram if you have any follow-up questions. I'll continue to share some of these things and progressions and things like that. Thank you.